Do you know 2 days ago on Monday it was officially announced, but we heard about this about a year ago, that they set up their own Chinese police stations in America. 2 are actually found to be having an office space in downtown New York City. Why are Chinese acting like policemen in America? Well, they're predominantly spying on the Chinese citizens to make sure they don't have any anti-regime posts, statements, or actions. And if they do, they threaten their families. There's about 6 or 7 others. How is this allowed in our country? How is this allowed to exist? They also are stationed around the world. How much money do they have? Something else they're doing. They're buying U.S. farmland. Since 2021, they have bought up, guess what? 383,000 acres of U.S. farmland, some of which are around sensitive military installations. How will we let that happen? How could we not put a policy in place to identify them as a problem and a threat and no longer allow that to happen? Meanwhile, they're refusing to cooperate on a series of investigations on COVID-19, threatening countries that actually do, putting out belligerent statements when we actually do, like the ones that took place yesterday. Meanwhile, the Armed Services is going to conduct and we're going to talk about this with Mike Gallagher in a moment, is going to conduct a thorough investigation about what happened. Why does the Biden regime have very little interest in finding out the origins of COVID? Let's talk about that. By the way, now we're hearing about 2 separate leaks that could have taken place, one in early 2019, one in late 2019. Now, what has China done to threaten us? They threatened to remake the world order. And this meeting had a lot to do with it. Vladimir Putin has diminished economy and military, but if he combines with China, that makes them more formidable. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to displace the U.S. dollar. Will they be successful? Probably not thoroughly successful, but they're making a dent with Brazil, with Argentina, possibly even with places like Europe and France specifically, who are talking about making the euro the dominant currency. This has to be watched. And meanwhile, let's take a look at what happened over the last week. We're to 2 weeks. We're talking about military games with live fire right around Taiwan. Right now, the island's still encircled. You have to wonder, can they even wait till 2027 to do an invasion? And if an invasion took place, how would America actually do? Let's ask a guy that would know, spending a lot of his time focused on his main, I guess, job description, and that is he's the chairman of the Select Committee of China, a 2 bipartisan committee with one mission: to stop them from getting past America in every way. Congressman Mike Gallagher, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You are tackling something that is really fast moving. First off, on the threat of China. Even since you got this job and assignment, how has China's aggression spiked?
Well, it's been interesting. In response to the visit of Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen to California, where we brought Democrats and Republicans to California to discuss with her, the Chinese Communist Party threw a temper tantrum. And it's just one piece of evidence to show how bad their bullying is getting on the world stage. And if you start to read what Xi Jinping is saying to his own party members, it really seems like he's preparing for war. They're setting up, hospitals across the strait on the Chinese side of the strait. They're preparing their citizens to endure enormous economic pain in the event of war. As you mentioned in your opening, they're trying to de-dollarize the world economy. They seem to be increasing their aggression on all fronts. And at the same time, they're sending officials like Liu He to Davos to tell the American business community, don't worry, China's open for business. And so we really need to be clear-eyed about what's going on here. We have an increasingly hostile regime trying to undermine our sovereignty, attack our interests, and invade Taiwan. That's a very precarious situation. We need to push back.
And let's be honest, though, their economy is not thriving. They have a very restless, 18 to 25-year-olds. Unemployment is extremely high. They have not really returned strongly from the pandemic, which has a lot to do with why the supply chains are struggling. Meanwhile,